Hey there! This week, we're beginning our new series called King of Hearts. This series is all about King David. The Bible describes him as a man after God's own heart. That is why we call him the King of Hearts. There are always amazing lessons to be learned from God's Word. Today, we'll learn that God chooses the people who He wants to lead, and that we should respect those leaders. Let's say today's bottom line: honor God's leaders on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Honor God's leaders. David's amazing story started when he was young. At this point in his life, he was just a shepherd boy. Bible scholars estimate anywhere from 10 to 15 years old. He had a father named Jesse and lots of brothers. David was the youngest, so he always had the job of watching the sheep out in the fields. Well, God was about to let Samuel in on some big, and I mean huge news, and it had a lot to do with David. God had decided that Israel would soon need a new king. Since King Saul wasn't honoring God with his choices, it was time for a change. So God said to Samuel, "Go to the home of Jesse in Bethlehem. I have chosen a king among his sons." Any guesses? David? Maybe. God also told Samuel to bring a young cow with him as a sacrifice. Samuel did what God told him to do. And when Samuel came to town, everyone was really nervous and excited because the famous prophet Samuel had come to visit. He was one of God's chosen leaders, and the people of Bethlehem wanted to honor him. Remember, it's super important that we honor God's leaders. Let's say today's bottom line: honor God's leaders on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Honor God's leaders. The people of Bethlehem all wondered why he was there. Samuel reassured them that he was there to give an offering to God. But what Samuel didn't tell everyone was that he was on a secret mission to find the next king of Israel. Samuel invited Jesse and his sons to come make a sacrifice too. 7 of Jesse's sons were presented to Samuel. When he first saw Jesse's son Eliab, he thought for sure that he would be the one that God wanted as king. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Don't look at how handsome Eliab is. Don't look at how tall he is. I have not chosen him." God does not see the same way people see. People see at the outside of a person, but the Lord looks at the heart. Jesse brought son after son to Samuel. So the first son comes in and nope, not that one. Then the next son walks up. Not him either. This one? Nope. This happened son after son after son, until all of Jesse's sons who were there were seen by Samuel. Each time a son was presented, God would say to Samuel, "Nope, not him." Finally, Samuel said to Jesse, "Are these all of your sons?" Jesse said, "No, there's still the youngest, and he's watching the sheep in the fields. His name is David." Samuel said, "Bring David to me at once." David arrived, and Samuel immediately knew, without a doubt, that David was God's choice to be the next king. He said, "He's the one." Samuel 16:13 says, "So Samuel took the container of olive oil. Then he poured oil on Jesse's youngest son to appoint him in front of his brothers. From that day on, the Lord's Spirit entered David with power." This was a big deal. David was God's chosen leader. That very moment, the Spirit of God came on David, and he would never be the same again. God had chosen David to lead his people. He would one day be a great leader who would earn the honor of God's people. Let's say today's bottom line one last time. Honor God's leaders on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Honor God's leaders. Tune in next week to hear more about David and how he becomes king. See you soon.